Well, you know what time it is.
All right, everybody, welcome to our 7 p.m. stream. This is where we cover the weekly news. I do a wrap up. You guys are not going to see the vehicle behind me, so the wrap up will be very brief. I'll quickly talk about that. Changing a few things here for you guys, making sure we're good to rock and roll. Okay. All right, guys. Welcome to our 7 p.m. stream. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button and the subscribe button as we do this every Sunday at 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. 3 p.m. is our project, 7 p.m. is our news and project wrap up. So this week we replaced a factory radio in an 03 Honda Accord. This radio had failed, but it's also part of the controls for the heat and the AC of the car. So we had to buy an all-in-one unit off of Amazon and we installed it into the car. A little bit more wiring that we had to do. We also added some USB ports so that they could plug their phone directly into the car. Also, this radio came with GPS and hands-free driving. We hooked up everything for the hands-free driving. We got everything set up. I hooked up my phone, verified that it worked. We only had one problem. The factory cord for the radio for picking up AM and FM stations was too short. We couldn't plug that one in. But that feature did not matter to my customer. All they wanted was to be able to hook up their phone and play music. Also, having the hands-free calling made it a little nicer. They'll probably play around with the GPS and get that GPS working so that they can use that when they're doing their business. More on that next week. We should be doing an interview with the owner of that car and talking to them about what they're actually going to be doing with that car. So, check a few things here. If you guys got any questions or want to talk about any of the news topics, you guys can chat that in down below in the live chat. I will read your comments on screen. Right. But that was the project this week. Was we were really trying to wrap up this radio install. We were trying to get this done. We also did an oil change on that. We did an oil change on Crimson Vortec. Found metal shavings in the oil, which means I am either going to choose to sell that truck or we're going to go ahead and fix it. I haven't quite decided what we're going to do. I'm going to probably wait and see how the next oil change comes out. And if I'm getting a lot more metal shavings in it on the next oil change, the decision is going to be made pretty quickly. We have currently replaced most of our lineup here, guys. Most of our lineup is gone, and we got two left, and both of them have engine issues. Both of them. Champagne Bubbles is at Mankato at Kia, and currently it's down with a engine with metal shavings in it. Now, I think that one was because of the fact that it had bad piston rings from factory. This one, I'm thinking, is just old. This engine is over 20 years old. It also has 174,000 miles on it. And for these motors, when they get to be that many miles, they run into problems. We've also put a distributor in it, so we could possibly have a distributor gear that's starting to shell out. But either way, with metal shavings in the engine, getting into the bearings and scoring all the bearings, chances are the motor is going to have to be pulled and replaced. And if I'm going to replace it, I'm going to go through and I'm going to rebuild it because I'm not going to just do a basic engine swap. I'm willing to do that on Champagne Bubbles. I am not willing to do that on Crimson Vortec. It doesn't really pay in my mind. I can't get a motor with low enough miles to just do a direct engine swap. So I can get one for Champagne Bubbles, but then again, those cars have bad piston rings. So if we think we're going to run into more problems with that car, we're going to dump that car too. But We've gotten rid of Silver Swine. We've gotten rid of Malibu Steel. And we now have LS Goat, which you guys have not seen yet. It's coming. Don't worry. You guys will see LS Goat soon enough. And you guys see Big Red, which is our 2013 Silverado, when I start up my stream. So that kind of brings us all up to current, guys. Check a few more things. All right. So now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and get into this week's news topics. Let's not waste any time. I'm sure we're going to have some big news topics that we're going to want to talk about today. So let's go ahead and dive into those right now. I'll check chats here in a little bit. I usually do a news story and then check chat. So you guys can click those in as you guys want. So our first news story here looks like Porsche 911 is now a hybrid. Guys, we're going to see a lot more of these. Remember what I told you.
Well, I sure hope somebody picks up that phone, because I f***ing called it!
I said we're going to see way more hybrids. We're going to see hybrids even transform from gas-powered and electric assist to electric drive, gas engine, charging battery version hybrids. We're going to see this. I don't want to see it. To me, it's still an EV. But this is the way things are going to go. Massive federal raid conducted at Hyundai Meta Plant Complex in Georgia. 475 people arrested. Let's go ahead and look at this. I'm going to talk about the Tesla one here in just a bit, guys. But let's talk about this one here. So, U.S. officials say the majority of the arrests are Korean nationals as South Korea government voices concerns. So they're basically saying that they're being infiltrated and they're alleged migrant immigration violations. So this was all done as a joint venture in their Georgia plant. Southwest of Savannah. It's slated to open at the end of this year, early 2026, and will supply batteries for the Honda Ion 5 and Ion 9 EVs. What I think happened is they were in a rush to get this plant up, and they made a bad move. They hired people that they shouldn't have hired, and they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Let's keep reading and see what all comes down. Yeah, controversial crackdown on unlawful immigration. So basically, somebody tipped off ICE that illegal immigrants were being hired. ICE went in and looked at it. Honestly, it's not unlawful immigration if these people weren't here legally to begin with. I know this is controversial. I know a lot of people don't like this topic, but here's the thing. If you're going to go to a country, you need to learn to assimilate to that country. You need to follow the rules of that country. And guess what? Here in the United States, if you're not here legally through proper channels, you are breaking the law. It's a straight up fact. It is the rules on the books. If the lawmakers don't like it, then they need to change it. And if they change it and it upsets the voter base, that's their own fault. Our politicians got to stop pushing their own agenda. We ask them to do their job, and half the time they slough off and take money and do a bunch of crap that we don't approve of. So this is saying basically that none of the detainees are directly employed by the Hyundai Motor Company. This is interesting. So why would they have picked them up at a Hyundai Motor Company plant if they were not hired by Hyundai to be there in the first place? This raises more questions than answers. And we really got to look at the bigger picture here of what's going on. First of all, I don't believe anything that the Cartoon Network tells me. So those guys are Homeland Security, which is called HSI, told CNN in a statement it had an executive search warrant as a part of an ongoing criminal investigation into allegations of unlawful employment practices and other various federal crimes. So, what this could be is they didn't have them registered as employees, meaning that they weren't here on a work visa. Had they been here on a work visa, none of this would have been a problem. This is what happens when people try to shortchange the law. They try to skirt around it. They try to break the law. Guys, you can't do this. When you do this, you're basically exposing your neck and being prepared that it gets chopped off. It's plain and simple. When they crack down on you, they're going to crack down hard. This isn't the only part of this story that we're going to hear. I guarantee you the people running that plant are also under investigation right now. Mark my words, there's more to come out of this. South Korean government has gotten involved, sending diplomat, to the U.S. embassy. So basically, they're hoping that by sending a diplomat, South Korea can get our government to let these people stay and work here. The problem is that they need to apply for a work visa. These people are here illegally. They have a criminal record. They will not be allowed a work visa. This is what we deal with on this side of the thing. Guys, we have to pay attention to this because this doesn't only have a reach into what we do, it has a reach into what things are going to cost us in the future. Companies that are pulling this fast and loose garbage are oftentimes going to be the ones that are going to try to give incentive breaks to buy things, but the problem gets a lot deeper than that. The problem gets a lot deeper than that. It basically turns into, now that we've got to do things through US channels and we got to hire US employees, it's going to raise cost. Hyundai has gotten by and Kia has gotten by with being one of the cheaper car companies. They're not going to be so cheap when they have to hire union workers to work in those shops. They're not going to be able to compete on the same market. And we're going to see a price spike in their cars because they're going to have to come up to meet everybody else's. They were trying to play fast and loose. I'll back up and I'll check the chats, see if anyone's chatted in. All right. Yeah, we got nobody on tonight. That's all right. I'm just going to keep plugging away with the news, and you guys can catch this on replay then. All right. Let's go into the next news story, guys. This one.
Well, I sure hope somebody picks up that phone because I f***ing called it!
I warned you guys that Elon Musk was going to pull the profits out of Tesla and he was going to tank the company. Mark my words, it's coming. He made a rather large investment into the Republican Party. And when he did that, he alienated his customer base at Tesla. His customer base were leftists. It was Democrats, far leftists, because they were the only ones who believed the environmental lie enough to buy the cars. Us average people know better. We know the truth. This is garbage. So, that being garbage, he put his money into Trump, and it has come back to bite him. And honestly, when we see the Tesla stock dropping, it basically means that there's going to be some big changes there. It may or may not survive, to be honest with you. So it's saying, remember the $50 billion package for the Tesla CEO, Elon Musk, which was struck down by the courts, leaving the world's richest man furious as he waits for appeals. Basically, this is about the uh, EV tax credit, guys. That's what that's about. And it's cutting into their profits, and it's actually causing the company to tank even more than what it already is. So this is a huge deal. It's going to have a reaching impact on the EV market. My mind, it's probably the best thing for us gas powered people that want to see gas cars stay, because this is going to push one of the biggest EV companies right down the toilet. They're self-driving robo taxis, guys. We've read articles on this already. They're not allowing robo taxis to be around. They can't make them safe enough. They can't make them safe enough to drive. That's what's going on. So yeah, that's one big issue there. Give me a second, guys. Oh. All right. I had to do something. These flies are ticking me off. That project that I had in here, I had to switch vehicles. You guys see the Tahoe behind me, so that's coming up here in the next week or so. So yeah, they basically wanted to robo taxi Tesla. They're trying to do open ride share to the general population in Austin, Texas, and in San Francisco. This has been struck down, guys. Self-driving cars are not allowed right now because they can't make them safe. The sensors are not picking up what they need to pick up. I'm trying to move back here a little bit, guys. All right. All right. Yeah, Elon has staked a lot into the AI, into Grok. He really wants to be the leader in the SpaceX and AI race. This is where his focus is, which means Tesla was there as a profit center to be able to help him push into these areas. Well, Tesla has taken too much of a hit, and it can't help back these companies up now. We're gonna see some stuff happen with this, guys. We're gonna see the Tesla stock probably keep dropping to the point that eventually they're going to ask him to step away. And when they do, they're going to try to almost rebrand the company to give it a fresh start. These are the tricks that are played in the corporate world. And the more you watch this stuff play out, the more you see this happen time and time again over the years, you learn to spot it really quickly. All right. Check and see what's going on here. Yeah, there's just so now we covered that. Let's scroll down. trying to blame the immigration and basically which companies are switching to Tesla charging ports. All we're not going to keep pushing on that EV topic. We're going to start leaning away from that. Meaty, beady, big, and sporty. They're trying to revive the 2500 Ram. So what they're trying to do is bring back their heavy duty line of vehicles. And after all of the crap that they pulled with their EV crap that they were pushing, that Stellantis was doing, this is just another cry that they went too far, and that their EVs fell flat. And honestly, it came back to bit them in a really bad way. Qualcomm to make BMWs, blah, blah, blah. So this article is basically saying they want a wood chipper their year-long test of the Ram 1500 test truck. A lot of this probably has to do with the e-torque and some of the problem that they had with it. And if they did have any problems with it, there's a high likeliness that they weren't able to finish the test because it sat in the repair shop. This is a massive problem among Ram all the way across the board right now. Parts are getting hard to find for the e-torque because right now the only place other than Ram that's rebuilding these e-torques is one place I've heard of in New York that's actually rebuilding them. The problem is you're still going to need a dealer to install them unless you have the proper scan tool to program it to the vehicle. I said this a while ago. Proprietary technology should not be allowed in the auto industry. When you have proprietary technology like this, what happens is people are allowed to abuse the system. Manufacturers and dealerships abuse it because they know that the customers have to bring it to them, meaning that they can charge whatever they want to charge to fix it. I've been against this thing from the beginning, and I will stay against it until they get rid of it. E-torque was one of the worst ideas you could have ever came up with. We're going to take an alternator, which is already somewhat shaky and not 100% reliable, and we're going to replace it with something that now costs $3,000 to replace, and we're going to call it an MGU and have it put out more voltage. That's what this is. It's an oversized alternator on steroids running a not so useful hybrid system. I've been calling it out for years, guys. I'm not going to harp on that anymore. We're going to move on. Yeah, robo-taxis. Guys, these things are not going to work. It's going to take a long time for them to be reliable enough in metro areas, but they're not going to be reliable outside of metro areas. Maps don't update fast enough, and I'm willing to bet eventually one of these things are going to drive right off the road, because the maps are not going to be reliable enough and update fast enough to keep up with some of the road construction that happens outside of a major metropolitan area. I can tell you right now, in the state I live in, there are about 10 major road projects that are going from 2-lane to 4-lane. These robo-taxis aren't going to know what lane it needs to be in during a traffic stop. And their sensors have already been proven that they can't be trusted. It's driven through what should have been a barrier that was supposed to stop the vehicle. They put up a barrier with a picture on it with somebody standing in the middle of a road. It was a picture. It drove through it, and it would have killed a person if they were standing there. That's the problem with AI, guys. We cannot let AI run our vehicles. Stop being lazy and drive your own car. Ford's going through a lot of changes, guys. They want to bring back the Fox body Mustang. They want to redesign it and bring it back so that they can get more sales coming in after their EV debacle. They're trying to stick to V8 powered Mustangs to kind of gain back what they lost when they tried to do the E-Mach, which was a Mustang knockoff of a four-door car. They're basically trying to play reverse roles and chase back what they lost by trying to play the EV game. I don't know if it's going to work at this point because people may not trust Ford. Ford right now has one of the worst recalls out of all manufacturers right now. These recalls are just slaughtering them. And it's hurting their sales too. If you look at their sales numbers are down. And it's going to keep dropping because they just had a massive recall on the F-150s. And this is a bad trend for Ford, and I don't know if they're going to be able to ride that out. But, I mean, they got to figure out what sells, and they got to stick with it if they want to try. And they got to get the recalls down. Again, another... Hold on. Guys, I just talked about the F-150 having a whole bunch of recalls. We got a whole slug of them here on the Ford Explorers and Lincoln Lincoln Aviators. 210,000 of these vehicles are being recalled for taillight issues. If you don't have taillights, somebody could easily slam into the back of you. All right, Dodge, don't even get me started on that crap.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm usually far more composed. I'm just a little bit absolutely livid.
You monkeys thought you could get away with doing EV bullshit. Now you're trying to sell us a damn 6-cylinder twin turbo and claim that it has just as much power as a Hellcat. Take your trash, go back to the drawing board, and start over. You guys finally give us a 2-door Charger. You want to claim that it's an SRT Hellcat, but you're going to probably put that stupid 6-cylinder twin turbo POS in there. Guys, we're not falling for it anymore. If you want to go EV, go EV. If you don't, then don't. But stop playing the back and forth. And I'm not upset with the prior CEO stepping back in to resurrect the SRT program. I'm upset with Stellantis shell companying this thing in the first place. Guys, I just talked about the F-150s. We just talked about the Explorers. Now Ford has even more recalls. Another 100,000 more pickups are needing repairs. I'm going to guess this is the Ranger. So I'm going to guess this affects Rangers and Broncos. Ford is a mess right now, guys. They are a straight up mess. Yeah, this here, you guys can sit here and brag all that you want, that you're trying to, pump a bunch of horsepower into a Ford Mustang GTD and set Nuremberg times and all this other stuff. But the problem is, these things aren't working. And actually, well, hold up. This car is even under recall for a fire hazard. Does Ford make anything that is actually on the road without a ton of recalls? Seriously. Right here. This is what I talked about in the beginning. Ford places another 355,000 F-Series trucks under a stop sale for latest recall. What does a stop sale mean? Let's pause. So a stop sale is one of the worst things that can happen to a manufacturer. It is the warning sign that everything at that company is going sideways. Basically, this means that they can't sell them even if they're traded in because of this recall. The recall affects the vehicle's safety enough that they can't resell them. So when they go back into the dealership, if the dealership can't fix them, they may not even be able to give them back to the customer. Guys, Ford is in a bad spot right now. Honestly, the only way that they're going to save this company, they need to come in and wipe out all the upper management. And they need to crack down on the middle management to stop putting out bad product. They need to tell their design team to get their design straight and start testing their products before they release them. This is the biggest problem. They'll come out with a redesign, they'll pump it into production, and they didn't give it that time to test. We have seen this happen in the automotive industry lately. Cars are coming out that are not been road tested. Guys, let's go back in time here. "15 years ago, if a car company wanted to come out with a brand new car, you know what they did? They built a model of it, put a bunch of stuff on the side so you couldn't tell what it was. They gave it to select people that they trusted for testing. Those people drove it for a year. 1 year. Shook down all the bugs, figured out everything that was wrong with it, and made sure that when they put it into production, they weren't going to wind up with a bunch of recalls. But apparently, that motto has gone out the window because now it's all about how quick can we get it to production, and then how quick can they sit on the dealers' lots because we can't sell them. That's what this trash is. I'm not talking about that crap. I'm done preaching on that. All right, we're done on that side. Let's go ahead. I'm going to check chats. Nope, we don't got any. That's all right. Awesome. All right, so I'm done on this site. Let me flip over to here. I'm going to scroll through this pretty quick, guys. I don't waste a lot of time on car news over here. A lot of these do repeat from Motor Trend. This one did not repeat. This is the Lamborghini, basically their hybrid EV-ish. And yeah, it's just another EV. I'm not getting the news stories. Let's go into here. Okay. I'm done with the Ram news. Guys, I hit that home. BMW news, guys. BMW is not selling as many as they used to. There was an article put out that Toyota is outselling BMW by damn near 2-to-1, which means for every 2 Toyotas being sold, 1 BMW is being sold. You guys got to remember, Toyotas are a lot cheaper. So what somebody spends for 1 BMW, they could buy 2 Toyotas. So just remember that Toyota is designed to be the cheaper, more affordable car, BMW is more of a luxury brand, meaning that they charge more for their cars and they don't have to make as many. So BMW is also in that. They've been playing around with a lot of EV stuff, guys. And honestly, the only way that they're going to bring the EV market up, honestly, to where it's going to be feasible for the average person, is they got to play around with it in the supercars and the hypercars for the next probably 5 years. And honestly, at that point, I don't know if it's even going to be worth it, because it all depends on what the market does. If they can't make batteries cheap enough and they can't get the minerals, they're going to run out of minerals before they can actually start making these in mass production for everyone to drive. I don't think they realize the number of cars on the road today, even just in the US. The number of cars on the road in the US is staggering. It really is. So, all right, we're through that news. I'm going to go ahead and close this down. All right. So we don't have a whole lot going on here today, guys. I'm not gonna stretch this. I'm not gonna stretch this video out too much longer here. I'm gonna look at a few things, guys. I'm going to analyze some of my data that I got going on. Basically, it's getting hard for me to do live streams if I'm only getting 5 views a video, which is what I've had today. And my other one was even worse than that. So I'm going to probably be reevaluating what I'm doing here. Honestly, at this point, I could probably turn wrenches in my garage, do customer stuff, and come out much farther ahead and maybe only do a few videos a month and not do as many. So I'm going to be analyzing my processes here and figuring out what direction I want to go. So a lot to think about for the future, guys. I do have a ton of projects. To be honest with you, I got more projects than what I got time to make the videos. But if I'm not getting the views, there's no point in doing the videos. So I might try a different format. That might be the route I have to go. Yeah, I'm just looking at the analytics today, and it's not good. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'd like to say thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing. Those who are there and been rocking with me from the beginning, it's been an awesome journey. So hopefully we can start doing some good stuff and start bringing you guys some really, really cool things. I've got a lot coming down the pipeline for projects. Guys, you haven't even seen LS Goat yet. So there's a lot to come. But I want to say thank you, guys. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you get notified when I go live, which is every 3 and 7 p.m. on Sundays. And I'll see you on the next one.